here. I don't have the script. I will work it by ear.
Thank you very much, KP4MD standing by. YouTube is live.
Good evening. It's 9 o'clock on a Wednesday night. This is Neil, Kilo Lima 7 Hotel, Quebec, Romeo. Net control for tonight for the N6NA SSTV Net. This NAT, the purpose of the NAT is to provide practice on the transmission of images, and it's open for all amateur radio from the N6 from the River City Arcs Club or any other amateur radio operator that would like to participate. We are located in Sacramento, California. This NAT is also being broadcast live on YouTube. And guests on YouTube are very much appreciated. If you need the repeater at any time for an emergency, break, we'll indicate the emergency, and the NAT will stop and allow the frequency to be used until it's either concluded or transferred to another frequency. Any station that would like to participate on the NAT for tonight, please come on now.
Okay, how about K6ZK?
Kilo 6 Zulu Kilo. Anybody else?
Affirmative. India.
Anybody else for the SSTV Net?
Yes, Kilo Papa 4 Mike Delta.
Papa 4 Mike Delta. I'll put myself here, KL7HQR. Anybody else? Bob N6BGQ indicated that he had some family errands to do. He is not going to be available tonight. K6ZK, what's your name, sir?
Yeah, it's Kelly, and in Oak Grove, California.
Okay, very well, Kelly. Thank you so much. One more time, anybody else for the slow scan television net tonight? It looks like we're going to have a short net. Hopefully somebody else will show up along the way. K6ZK, would you be ready to transmit a picture?
Yeah, I think I'd give it a try. Let's go ahead. Let's try this. I'm kind of new to this app, but let's try this on Robot 72. Is that a copy?
Well, no problem. You want to give a tone test first?
Let's give it a try now.
Go ahead.
Okay, let me try a couple of settings. Sorry about that. I'm not seeing an output.
We could hear some audio in the background as a signal, but very, very low, and it was not enough to really trigger everything. My equipment try to catch a few images, but give it a try. See what you can do, and we'll give it a try in just a few minutes.
Okay, you know what? I'm just going to try a couple other inputs to the. I'm using the 9700 here. Okay, stand by.
Okay, no problem. We'll stand by.
Yeah, in the meantime, I'd like to acknowledge that Craig Whiskey Papa 2 November down in Louisiana is logged in on our YouTube live chat Yeah, so very good evening to you, Craig. And I concur with what Neil said. It sounded like you had a live mic. I think I heard a little bit of background noise. Uh, your tone modulation was very, very, very faint. Probably less than like 1 or 2% modulation on that. So it looks like it just wasn't being channeled correctly into your radio, KP4MD.
This is KL7HU. Kelly, if you need a few minutes, I can try to send one picture, and then we'll go back to you.
Yep, you know what, I'm not sure the settings on this one with the 9700. I probably have to go back into, there's a setting that's not right. I've been using this with HF with no problems. Okay, I'll just let you guys carry on, and I'll just work on the problems.
Yeah, but don't go away. That's the whole purpose of the net, is to identify problems and try to find out what's wrong and make it work. So take your time. I'll try to send a picture here, and let's see if it goes. Maybe I have problems too.
Very good, carry on.
How about that, Carol? Mine is not going out also. Are you ready to send a picture?
Affirmative, affirmative. This is going out PD 120.
Well, good copy. Although quite a few pops because of the black background. Let me see. Kelly, are you there? And were you able to copy the picture?
Yeah, it came through, but you know, there's so many pixel pops. Actually, I have very little copy. I can't make out really anything out of this transmission other than there was a signal set, but I'm not getting much.
Okay, Carol, what I see seems to be three pictures on the left-hand side. All three are some kind of graphs. 1250. On the left-hand side, I cannot read any of the scales, but there are some very high-level data points with a gap in the middle. On the right-hand side, some scales in green and some other information that I cannot understand. The bottom on the right next to the 1250 looks like there is a, if I didn't know better, I would say it was a sun corona there, but very curious to know what it is. And the only reason the pop-ups are very, very strong is because so much black on the background. The signal was really good. Back to you, Carol.
Okay, very good. This is KP4MD. Well, I'm sharing here something I was working on actually today. This is a screen capture of my computer. This was a project that I worked on several years ago and I shared online. I actually did a video about it. I think I presented it once at one of the club meetings also. Anybody that has a RTL like a dongle, one of those little RTL USB dongle receivers, like the $20 ones, or an SDR Play, could do this and just plug it into their computer. And with some free software, you can set this thing up to adjust the deviation on your FM transmitter. So the box on the left side, that big tall box that you see there, the white box, it says 438-500. That's actually, I set my transmitter on that simplex frequency, my FM transmitter, and fed the NSNA SSTV into it. And I was sending out a constant tone. I used the tone button and I set the tone frequency to 1250. That's easy to do if you, I think if you just right click on that tone box next to the TX, you can actually change the tone frequency there. I set it for 1250, and the reason for that is if you're transmitting a frequency, that frequency tone with 3 kilohertz deviation, you'll reach a modulation index of 2.4, and that's kind of like a magic number. The 2.4 modulation index is when the carrier frequency of the FM signal disappears. So you look carefully at that spectrum above the 1250, you'll see that there is a big hole right where the carrier is supposed to be. That's because the carrier nulled out at that point. I had adjusted the level coming out of my signal link so that would null out the carrier with that frequency modulation. And that adjusts for 3 kilohertz, plus or minus 3 kilohertz deviation. Let me drop the repeater a moment. Okay, so this is that program is called SDR Sharp, which is a freeware program that you can use with any of those SDR receivers, the dongle or the SDR Play. It may work with some other receivers as well. What I'm doing is I'm taking the audio output. Actually, it's the audio output from this program is going through a virtual audio cable, which is an internal software, and it's piping the audio straight into another freeware program. It's called Visual Analyzer, which is an oscilloscope program that works on your PC. So the output from that receiver is going into that oscilloscope that's inside your computer. You're not doing any other separate hardware. So the input of the oscilloscope is set to the virtual audio cable, and I've got it adjusted so that if you look in the upper right-hand corner window, the major divisions on the scale, the center horizontal line is 0. That's the center frequency, which is 438-500. And each major division going up or down from that line is 1 kilohertz. So you can see the sine wave that goes up to just about 3 major divisions above and 3 major divisions below. So it's displaying you've got 3 kilohertz plus and minus on the FM deviation. So it's a way of directly measuring the level of your modulation, so you don't over deviate or you don't under deviate. The scope view below that, that sine wave, is a spectrograph, and it's showing a peak, one single peak, which is 1,250 kilohertz, and you're really not seeing any significant peaks after that, which is showing that it's pretty clear of distortion. So this is a pretty nifty little thing anybody can do with free software to adjust the transmitter that they're using for FM. Back to you, it's KP4 Mike Delta.
Well, Carol, anybody can do it if they have the free software and the skills to do it and know how to interpret. Kelly, any comments on Carol's description? K6 Zulu Kilo, KL7HQR, you still on? Well, apparently it's you and I, Carol. Anybody else that would like to join us on the SSTV Net tonight?
I would like to acknowledge we have 2 more people on the YouTube live chat, which are Jen, KI1TTY, and Larry, Kilo Delta 6 Golf Mike Delta, who are watching on YouTube.
I assume that would be on the left side of the right top picture, am I correct?
Yeah, I'm sorry we doubled. I was mentioning the people that were on the live chat. Can you repeat the question again, please? Over.
No, go ahead and repeat the people on the live chat. That's more important.
Yeah, on live chat we have Jen, KI1TTY, who said they were going to try to check in on 441.3, and also Larry, Kilo Delta 6 Golf Mike Delta, is listening on the repeater and watching on YouTube.
Okay, that is the day that we have a lot of people on YouTube. Now we don't have enough people here to send the pictures. Now my question, my indication was that you mentioned the sine waves, and now once I knew that, I can look for it, and I see very, very light indications on the screen, but I could not discern them until you mentioned them.
Oh yeah, the image is perfectly clear if you look on YouTube. I'm sorry that there isn't really very much contrast, so maybe if it was a noisy signal over the repeater, it might have been difficult over.
That may be what it is. Let me see. Kelly apparently is no longer with us, so let me see if I can have a tone here. Okay, let me try to send this. Will be video 120. Interesting. I have a tone, but the transmit does not work. Let me try it again. Yeah, when I hit the transmit, it does not activate the signal link for some reason. Setup is perfectly okay. Let me try, see if I can have any volume problems here.
Well, it should be the same volume before the tone button and for your transmitting a picture. So, are you sure you're in the TX window when you're trying to transmit? and maybe you might just have to close MMS STV and open it again. Sometimes that fixes it.
Okay, let's give it another try. That's what I did. Well, that's it. Let's see. Anybody else on frequency that would like to participate on the net? Okay, I can see that the picture is just finishing up on YouTube. Carol, how did it come across? And I have some observations on it.
Okay, yeah, hi to Kitty, and we also have Nelson, K6VDU, who's also listening on the repeater and on the YouTube live chat. Very good, solid picture. You can see what I received on YouTube, and it looks like some kind of a 12-volt wiring, maybe the top of a Go box that has a 12-volt power supply. I see the spade, what they call it, spade lug type of connectors on this jumper in the middle there with the red wires, and looks like some other terminals. I guess this is a jumper to connect a couple of things to your plus 12 volts. And looks like maybe some Anderson power pole power poles there in the lower left-hand corner. The lower right-hand corner looks interesting. It looks like almost like a 110, a couple of 110 volt plugs. Can't say what else is going on here, but a lot of connectors going on. It's some kind of power distribution box, I'm going to guess. Back to you. This is KP4 Mike Delta.
Try Kelly one more time. K6 Zulu Kilo, still around?
Yes, I am, and I have to comment that I received the most perfect transmission I've ever seen. No pixel pops whatsoever. Almost photo perfect. I wish I could take a shot of my screen. By the way, I went ahead and rebooted my computer, the MMS SSTV version 1.138, and it seems to have came alive again. So maybe I'll try to send you one again and see what happens. But yeah, I'm exactly looking at, because originally I thought it was a battery of some kind. It's in obviously watertight. I can see the O-ring seal around the housing, which is in a large black housing. Carol's already mentioned the jumper just sitting there with a automotive. That yellow connector is an automotive crimp connector. Splied out to 3 different connections there. A black connector there. I'm not sure if we're looking at a kind of battery or what we've got there. I'm going to guess that this is some kind of a battery, maybe a solar type, some kind of a solar battery. That's my guess. Over to you. K60K. Good. By the way, great transmission.
K60K KL7HQR. Okay, Kenny, glad to hear that you're back on the air again. And I'm also looking on YouTube, and looks like Mr. Seiler identified it is the back side of the top of a Go box, and etc. Yes, I'm in the process of putting together a Go box, and this is the open at the underside of the top. There is on the center is a fuse box and several switches left and right, and of course the Anderson power poles on the left hand side, and on the right hand side we have some USB outputs, and etc. The reason for sending this picture is that I have not used the Anderson power poles before, and I am using it for the first time. I'm having a little bit of a problem because of inexperience, probably. I'm using 12 wire because I may have to pull 30 amps out of this thing. So I'm using 12 wire. The 12 wire and the 30 amp Anderson power poles work beautifully together. And however, when I have to go from one Anderson to the next one, normally I would just kind of put 2 wires together and do the jumper, and to the next jumper and next jumper. It is impossible. I cannot find a way to do that using the 30 amp power and the proper gauge of wire. One of the solutions is what I put in there, in which on the wire that's on the middle, on the left hand side, okay, is the lug that goes in the main switch, and then on there are 4 outputs that will go into the Anderson power poles. But having to do the soldering and the shrink tubing and the soldering and the shrink tubing to do it was very inelegant, and I just wonder if anybody has a better solution how they handle a thick wire with the Anderson power poles.
This is KP4MD. My preference when I do Anderson power poles is I just solder them. I don't even bother you. I don't even have the crimp tool for that. But I solder them and just poke them through, and it's working pretty well for me.
Yeah, I understand. The crimping is working well. No, what I mean is to go from one, like you can see on the bottom left side, I have to feed from the main switch. I have to feed all 4 connectors for the red wire. But I have to then use to solder the wire and create the bundle from 1 input to 4 connectors. And so maybe there is no way to do what we would do with thinner wire, put 2 wires in one solder or crimp and then create the loop to the next and the next. Maybe that's not possible.
Yeah, actually, I did something like that. What I did was I took a little U of solid wire. I made a tiny little U, and I put 2 of the connectors on each end of the U. And I had them spaced exactly right so I could push both of them in at the same time, and they would fill both of those holders. That would, of course, be the 2 positives or the 2 negatives. It's a pretty nifty thing. I'll send you a link to how I did that. That way, instead of feeding 4 wires into each of those holders, you're only doing 2 wires over.
Comment?
Okay, I understand. Go ahead, comment.
Yeah, looking at the gauge of the wires, and I'm guessing that that we're looking at probably 12 gauge or 10 gauge or better. Might take advice from the electric RC guys that typically take DC currents very high amperage, up to 40, 50 amps, and they're using connectors that they're different kinds. The power poles have kind of fallen out of vogue with us. Usually now we're using. But I would just probably go online and look at those. I'm trying to think of the numbers we use, but we're basically used to using the high amperage solder-on connectors, and they're very easy to swap out.
Roger, I definitely will look into that. Is there a different name, different type of connector instead of the power poles?
You know what? I have to go downstairs. I've done a moment. Normally I could just tell you because they come in 40, 50, 60 amp. I have to run down and check them. I can't tell you right now. I'm up in the radio room and my radio shop, my shop downstairs. I could pull one up real quick. I'm sorry, I can't tell you right now.
Okay, no problem. Scale 7 HQR and the SSTV Net. Thank you. I understand what Carol indicated, and that's an idea. The other thing I was thinking, Carol, is to put a little metal bar in there and then connect all the wires to that bar and then make one connection to the switch. So there are different alternatives. That's exactly what I like about this net, that we just toss in a problem and people come up with different ideas. Thank you. Kelly, don't worry about doing that now. If you can find that later, I appreciate. But let's say if you are ready to send the picture, it's your turn.
Yeah, you know what? I tried to make some connections into the 9700. I'm using a USB port, so I'm not using a sign card, or actually I'm using the one on the computer. But okay, let's give it a try. I'm assuming I just hit the transmit button and that should just handle. Is that correct?
You're using MMS STV, I should be correct.
Okay, so I'm still on Robot 72. So here we go. Give it a try. Coming at you. Now again, I can tell you nothing's coming out. I'm just going to have to work on this. I have no idea. I tried it experimentally on a couple, and they just came right through. So I think I have a connection now going on. I'm going to halt this now. Sorry about that.
No problem. Again, we can hear the... Okay. Okay, I don't know if you had a hot mic. We could still hear the audio just like before, very low. I don't know if you went through the settings of MMS STV on the options and miscellaneous and setting up the auto cards, if you have done that.
Okay, yep, sorry about that. You know, I practiced it a couple times on Simplex, and I could see on my scope. The 97 has a scope. I could see we were absolutely dead going out. So something's changed. I have the 7300 for HF going into the same program. So cross connections or whatever. I think for next Wednesday I'll be probably more prepared to go. Sorry, guys. All right, so K60K, I'm just going to say sayonara. I'll try it again, okay? Bye-bye, all.
Okay, K60K, Gale 7 HQR. It's necessary, my friend. That's exactly what we're here for. That's the intent, is to share information, learn, and then enjoy the pictures when we can. Anybody else that would like to join us in that? There's very, very light attendance today.
Yeah, take a look. This is KP4MD. Take a look at what I decoded on YouTube while Kelly was talking. It looks like we may have been receiving her picture. Very faint. The modulation level was very low, but apparently MMS STV was sensitive enough to pick something up. We got part of a picture. There's a lot of interference when you started talking over it, but the picture was coming through in the background. Over.
that, Kelly?
Yes, I did, and I'm not sure if we're getting a cross chat or whatever. Just not sure right now, but we'll troubleshoot it. I really need to go into the 9700 is pretty deep. I've used sound cards in the past. This is my first experience with USB Class 5 type stuff, and I'm still working out the bugs, I guess. I think there's a guy on YouTube that could talk me through the settings with SSTV with a 9700.
Okay, no problem. But that's as Kara indicated, the sound it sounded like if your sound was coming in. I don't know if you could hear on the speaker or in there, and it was being picked up that way, so much so that we could see somewhat in the picture with an open mic, because we could hear background noise at the same time. So anyway, good luck, and we look forward to seeing you here next Wednesday. Carol, do you have any other pictures that you would like to send? I unfortunately have none.
No, I don't have any other pictures, but I would like Kelly to tell me if the picture that I received, if she could recognize anything in that picture I received, to see if that resembles at all the picture that she was trying to send.
Yeah, I got basically the same thing here. Apparently, I think Kelly is gone. She seems to be a little frustrated with I think, which is understandable. I remember several weeks I couldn't transmit anything. Anyway, Carol, I appreciate you being there, and to the people on the online, I would please come in back in a different week. This is not the normal SSTV Net that we have. For some reason, people were otherwise occupied, and normally we stay here until 10:30 because we have so many pictures to go. So we're looking forward to having your presence again. And I can see there that let me see. No. Okay, some comments there on the how to double two power poles there. I'll take a look at that. Any comments from you, Carol, before we close?
No, nothing further. Just that James, I know, is on the road, so that's the reason why he's not here. He's usually here every week. But I think he said he might be trying to look in, or maybe watch the recording that's up on YouTube. But thank you very much for standing in and doing a wonderful job as net control at the last minute. You did a great job, Neil. And what you said is absolutely right. We usually have a good number of interesting pictures, but the usual people that we usually have in here for some reason were not available tonight. So very good evening to all. Today is, by the way, March 15th, the Ides of March. They say, beware the Ides of March. That's from Julius Caesar. 18th is the Hamfest at the Loomis Trains Depot. That's from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Everybody welcome to drop by. No purchase necessary, free parking. Get to see people that you talk to on the air and ask about amateur radio. I'll be working at the information booth for the ARRL there. So there's not going to be a River City Arcs breakfast this Saturday. It's going to be the following Saturday, so it doesn't conflict with the Loomis Hamfest. So that's it. Back to you. This is KP4 Mike Delta.
KP4 Mike Delta, KL7HQR. Thank you again, Carol. And I see there the link. I'm going to copy down here and follow that link. Don't take the picture off the air yet. Let me copy that down. Scale 7HQR closing the net for tonight with our apologies for the slow participation, but looking forward to seeing everybody again next Wednesday. Good night. Carol, I copied the link, so feel free to take down the picture. Thanks again. Good night.